Hey guys, we're live. It is 7 o'clock. It's Tuesday night and it is time for Tip Tuesdays. So it looks like I am the only one here for the moment, so I'll keep blabbling along until a few more people join us. I thought maybe I'd talk about my week and what I've been doing. Been really busy working on the website. What else have I been doing? I feel like I've been doing a lot, honestly. Oh, hello. Yep. Hey, Leanne. I can see you just joined. So good to see you guys here tonight. So what we are going to be talking about is how to make your Bondi top and make it with stretch fabric like what I am wearing here. And I'm going to be really super honest with you. This is probably what I wear the most is my Bondi's made out of stretch fabric. So just super comfy. And I don't know if you noticed, like I just cut mine off to make it a straight hem. So you don't have to do the curved hem that comes with the pattern. Just where it kind of curves and comes up at the sides is where I just marked it and cut it straight. So again, like I've mentioned last week as well, it is just me here. I will try to answer your questions as I go through everything. But if I miss you, make sure you stay all the way till the very end so that I can answer any of the questions you have. But feel free to type them in and DM me. Also, I will be saving this on our IGTV. I have like a little series for Tip Tuesdays all saved. And I'll probably even save these and maybe put them on the blog so that everybody can find them. So anyways, we are going to go ahead and jump right in to working with knit fabric. And the first question most people have is, can you make the Bondi top with a knit? And the answer is obviously yes. And the rule of thumb is fabrics made in a woven can be made with a knit fabric usually. And fabrics designed for knit garments can't go the other way. So if you have like a cardigan or something like that that's designed for knit fabrics, you usually can't make them with a woven. But something like the Bondi top, which is just a really nice loose fitting box top, there's no buttons, there's no pleats, there's no darts, you can make this out of a knit fabric. So when people are designing for knit fabrics, the fabrics have what's called ease. The ease is already built into the fabric. So when you design a knit garment, you have to accommodate for what is called negative ease. And that's what sometimes it will be your exact body measurement so that it kind of the fabric does the easing for you rather than things like darts and stuff like that to make it curve. So with the Bondi top, ease is already built into it so that you can move and wiggle around. And with that means that if you're making it in a stretch fabric, you can size down if you'd like. So I didn't size down. I wear a size medium, and that's what size I've traced because I want it to be that really nice, loose, comfy sort of fit. But if you want something a little tighter, a little bit more fitted, you most certainly can size down. The next thing is choosing the right fabric because not all knits are created equal. You don't want something that's really loosey-goosey that is going to be hard to work with. So I like to use something that has a two-way stretch and that is a cotton. I like to have a little bit of polyester, a little bit of spandex in it. So this one right here is 100% cotton with a little bit of spandex, so about 5%, so that has what we call good recovery. Now, if you're out at the shops and you are looking for stretch fabrics, this is my little tip for you. So you take your knuckle like this and you stick it up into the fabric like that. And then you let it release and you see if there is any sort of a bubble or a divot. And this one you can see that there is a little bit of a divot when I do that. And that's because it's more cotton based so that it's not like bouncing back into itself. But here, where do I have it? This one has a lot of spandex in it. And when I do that, it completely bounces back to normal. Like you can barely even see anything there. What this is for is, I don't know if you've ever had a pair of leggings, like a pair of tights, or a shirt, a long sleeve shirt where the elbows get really saggy and baggy. That's because the fabric doesn't have enough elasticity or like spandex in it to bring it back into shape. So that's the first thing I check, is I like to look and see, does it stretch this way? So from selvage to selvage, does it stretch this way along the grain like that? So it has a two-way stretch. And then I also like to do the little knuckle test to see how much, how much recovery it has. The final thing I like to do is I look on the sides and I kind of pull it like that to see how much it rolls. So doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means how much are you willing to work with it, because that rolling, especially after you've cut out your fabric, can get really super annoying. So I'm going to show you in a little bit how to kind of help prevent that. But that is another thing that I check, is I look at the side, I kind of pinch it and see how much it rolls. So this is another one. This is an art gallery fabric and it's a little bit heavier. So this is like just a medium weight, and it's just such a nice, solid, really good stretch. So if you have access to art gallery stretch fabrics, or I know Blackbird Fabrics, that's where I got this. They have really good knit fabrics. And who else? Riley Blake has some really good knit fabrics. So it's kind of picking the ones that have that really good retention and they feel really nice. So anyways, that is my first tip. My next tip is the tools that you need to work with stretch fabric. Knit fabric can be kind of slippery. It can kind of move on you. So when I'm cutting it out, I use a small rotary cutter. So this is a 28mm blade, and I use a cutting mat, because when you use your scissors and you start cutting along, you kind of pick it up as you go. And with stretch fabrics, when you pick that up, sometimes you can accidentally cut into the fabric. So when it stretches and you cut, and then it bounces back into itself, you've actually cut into the fabric when you didn't even mean to. When you're using a rotary cutter and a mat, everything is pinned down, everything is laying flat, so that you can go around it and make sure that it's not moving or rolling or wiggling around on you. So doing that can probably help you a lot, and also like having a straight edge ruler to keep everything really nice and straight. So if all you have access to is scissors, you can definitely use them, but I do like using a rotary cutter. The next thing I like to use is a ballpoint needle. So I think maybe it's mirror image, so you might not be able to read that, but it says ballpoint needle, or a stretch needle. So they're both essentially the same thing. So basically, knit fabric is actually like, have you ever seen somebody knit a sweater? That's what it is. There are loops actually intertwined with one another. And if you pierce and break one of those loops, you would see a run. So the idea of a ballpoint needle is, instead of piercing through the fabrics like you do on a woven fabric, you want to push them out of the way. So a ballpoint needle is slightly rounded at the tip, and as it goes through, it kind of like goes like this and pushes it out of the way rather than piercing through your fabric. So it's really important to have one of these when working with stretch. Now, you don't have to have an overlocker to work with stretch fabrics. All you need to do is make sure you're using the right foot and the right stitch, because when you're sewing with stretch fabrics, you can't use a straight stitch, because this seam has to be able to flex and move with the fabric. So I'm going to bring you over to my sewing machine really quick so I can show you my foot and I can show you the stitch. So hold on. I'm going to grab you. There you go. You're in my hands. Come with me. Okay. Oh, that's a bit dirty. 2 seconds. Okay. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, your ballpoint needle, but then I have my walking foot attached. So my walking foot has like teeth, or yours would have like some teeth here, and then underneath your machine you also have teeth. Oh, there we go. Take that off so you can see it better. So you have teeth here, and those teeth move up and down. Those teeth obviously move as you go, and then this holds down the fabric from the top, so basically it pulls the fabric from the top and the bottom evenly as you sew. So with stretch fabrics, you don't want the bottom just pulling and the top sliding, because by the time you get to the end, they're going to be two different lengths. You want this pulling and this holding it down equally at the top so that the fabric feeds evenly. So this is called a walking foot or a dual feed foot. And then finally, you also want to be using this stitch right here. This is called a lightning bolt stitch, and you'll notice that compared to a zigzag, zigzags go horizontally right to left, whereas a lightning bolt stitch goes up and down in a zigzag. So if I pop that on there and I grab just a little piece of fabric, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed and it's more difficult. Anyways, I don't know if I can do it one-handed. And there we go. So you'll see it's just sewing just like in a straight line, and then we'll cut it and have a close look, and it looks like a seam, but because it's a zigzag, it stretches with the fabric just like that. So I think that that is really cool, and it's the way that I do all of my shirts. Like, I like to stitch them first, and then after they're stitched, I'll go to the overlocker. Or if you have an overlocker, you can just do the whole thing on the overlocker. So once you do that, oh, there's Frankie's bed. You guys, too bad he's not in here. He's eating. Now I'm just gonna pop you on the tripod so you can see. Okay. All the joys of going live. It's like we're on an adventure together, and you get to see all my little mistakes. Unlike some professionally edited stuff, now you know what it's really like just messing around in here. Okay, so we've learned what needle we use. I also like to use some clips. Like if I was going to do hems, instead of using pins, I just put some clips in there because I find it a little bit easier with knit fabrics to use clips rather than using, let's zoom in so you can see a bit better. Yeah, than using pins. So that's one option. You don't have to. You can definitely use pins. And I also use a lot of flatter spray. So when I originally cut this fabric, it was rolling like you would not believe. It was making me so cranky. So I just put a lot of this flatter spray, which is a bit of spray starch, and then I just pressed it. And you can see it's rolling a little bit there. So I just flattened out the roll like that. And now you can see how much flatter it's sitting. Because earlier when I showed you this, you saw how much rolled. That's exactly what it was like. That was all rolled up. And then just a little bit of that spray has helped it lay flat. So when you are sewing something like this together and you're working with stripes, I wanted to show you what I use to match my stripes together. I use a little bit of a double-sided, it's called Wash Away Quilter's Tape. And it's a double side adhesive, and it just washes out basically. But if I was trying to pin together knit fabrics, they're going to move, they're going to wiggle, they're going to move on you as you're sewing. But if you put a little bit of this on the inside, give it a bit of a rub. Oh, that one didn't have any sticky on it. Oh, the sticky stuck to that. There we go. There's my sticky. Okay. All right, so there's the double-sided adhesive, and then I would just match up my stripe exactly. Make sure all those stripes are matched up, and then when you sew, it doesn't matter if you're taking pins out, it doesn't matter what you're doing, that tape is going to hold that together, and then you do your little zigzag, and then when you look at it, your stripes are going to be perfectly matched. Like, I don't know how else to match up perfect stripes other than using that tape, because pinning it you're just going to get mad because the minute you take that pin out, these are going to slip and move on you. So that's one tip. And this is the way I do my bias binding. So for this particular pattern, when I do the bias binding on this sort of neck, and I'll just show you another one that I've done. What I like to do is I measure what the distance of the circumference of my neck is, and then I subtract an inch. You want this circle to be slightly smaller than what this actual finished measurement is. And then I do this, I fold it in half, and I stitch it so that I make a circle, and then I fold this whole thing in half again. And then what I would do is I would figure out where the middle was and pin middle, shoulder, middle, shoulder. And then as I'm sewing, I just slightly pull, zigzag it down, and then slightly pull so that I'm kind of easing this smaller circle into this bigger circle. And then that's going to give you a really nice flat neckline. So, I also have done some Bondi tops where I've just used some woven bias and done it exactly like the directions say, and that works too. So it doesn't stretch, it doesn't move, but it is stabilized. So you could use your woven bias binding and do it that way, or you could use a knit binding or a ribbing. This right here, this is called ribbing, and it's just that little bit thicker, and it will sit really nicely. I even put it on the cuffs. This is a little hack that I did, so it's not exactly the Bondi top, but it still shows the exact same idea. And then finally, I wanted to show you how I hem my knit fabric. So I'll just show you one finished here. So first thing I did was overlock the end, the raw end. Now knit fabrics don't fray, so technically you don't have to overlock them because you'll notice there's no fraying on any of these. So they will just roll up, they will not fray. But to make it look nice and neat, the first thing I did was overlock the edge, and then I used this stuff. This is called Heat and Bond Soft Stretch, and it's just a double-sided adhesive. And what I do is, here is my hem, and you just press a little bit of that along the edge. And it's one of those like hold and press, and I don't use steam. Somebody said, sorry I joined late. Did you make a smaller size because it is knit? Yes, I make it a smaller size. So when you're doing the bias around the neck, make the bias slightly smaller and then ease it in, and it will help the neck sit a lot more flat, because if you make it the same size, it will end up stretching and end up being too big. Okay, once you have ironed that on, you have to let it like cool off, because when I've tried to pull this off when it's still hot, all the tape in it gets all gooey and it's really like a big mess. So let it cool off and then pull that. Okay, so you can see all nice and shiny. And then just fold that up and then hold and press. And then it gives you that perfect seam allowance. And this is the best part. Watch this. Once that's ironed, it's stabilized, so it's going to be easy to sew, but it still stretches. So it has like that stuff in there that's holding it and stabilizing. This was part I've already done like a week ago, and look how good it is. So good, so good. All right, so that is pressing and hemming, matching up our stripes, the foot I use, the needles I use. So I'm just going to switch you guys back around so I can read your questions. Okay. Sorry, I mean the top, not the neck. Okay. Yes, I this particular one I didn't size down, the one that I'm wearing, because I wanted it to be loose. But you can size down if you want to accommodate for the negative ease and you want something a little bit more fitted. So definitely you can always size down with this if you want it a little bit more fitted. Now I'm just going to scroll and see if I missed any questions or if there was anything else that you guys wanted me to show a little bit better. And I'm sorry about the one-handed thing with the machine. I couldn't figure out how else to show the machine. My tripod won't get over there. So I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Yeah, great tip with a flatter spray. Oh, my fabric stored so nice and neat. Yeah. I cannot work in mess for some reason. Like my brain just can't function. So before I start anything, I have to get my room all sorted, and most of it's in rainbow color order too, if I get a chance to do that. It's just my little weird quirk. Okay. Oh, I'm now inspired to sew with knits. So far out of my comfort zone. Yay! Oh, that's what I wanted from this live. That's exactly what I was hoping for, is that you would see that it's really not that scary. Working with stretch, it's actually meant to be faster and easier. Stretch fabrics aren't that hard to work with, but if you have the, the right tools and you have, your machine set up correctly, and also test. Don't just start sewing on your Bondi top and get really frustrated. Use 2 pieces of knit fabrics and start trying on those, and just make sure to use that lightning bolt stitch. So somebody said they wanted to see the back. Now I do have a little confession to make before I show you the back. I did not do the yoke, and I did not do the back piece. I just cut the front and the back the same. Because I had to make it up really quickly, so you guys caught me. Yeah, I literally just cut the front twice. I did not do the back or the back yoke or anything like that, because I wanted to make something really super quick. Which means you can do it too, and I won't tell anybody, I promise. And also you can make it straight across the bottom like I did here. So yeah, I did cheat, which I tend to do when I'm trying to be quick to showcase something. I didn't want to take all that time. So I'm gonna give knits a try to new t-shirts for the summer. Yes. You know what? I'll do on the blog tomorrow morning when I wake up. I will put the hack how I did this shirt. I have like a video of, I used a t-shirt that I already owned, and I walk you through how to use a t-shirt that you already own to make this top. So I'll pop that on there, and I'll pop some links I have to working with knit fabric. So yeah, that is about it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed tonight's tutorial on how to work with stretch fabric. I know they're like really quick and fast, but hopefully they've helped you to build a little bit of confidence in sewing with fabrics that you don't normally work with. And I would absolutely love, love, love to see one if you end up making it. Remember, this month is still #Bondi Top Challenge month, and we only have a few entries. We got some new entries this week, and which are pretty good. So I am thinking that there's still lots of opportunities for you to get in there. And when I did see a question, hold on one sec before we go. Is it 2-way or 4-way stretch material that's the best? I say 4-way. Which is 2-way. So this is like 1-way stretch, and then this is 2-way stretch is how I call it. So, so 2-way stretch is what I would call it. And then that would just be a 1-way stretch, and then it wouldn't stretch, the other way. So yeah, I would say from selvage to selvage, and, with the grain that you would want it to stretch both ways. So that just makes it really nice and easy to work with. Okay, I think that is everybody, and that's me signing off, going to have dinner. I hope you guys have a beautiful night, and we will see you again hopefully next week. Bye. Bye, everyone.